Wonder if Viggo Mortensen's ever been here. All right, MotorLand Aragón. We were able to get ourselves a 203 262. I think the fast guys are going to be doing like 159s, 2 minutes, somewhere in there. But I am happy with being able to get this time down. It took quite a while. There's a couple corners in there, especially turn one. How am I supposed to go faster here? And it took me a while to figure it out, but eventually I did. And was able to get my times down, and that made me pretty happy. So let's show you the fast lap, then we'll walk through how we did it, and I'll come back with a couple final thoughts here.
Your lap time was at 2:04.17. Sector 3 time is quick. Sector 1 is quick. Sector 2 is a tenth off your best. That was 2:03.26. That's your best lap in the session.
All right, MotorLand Aragón. Porsche kept fixed. Haven't changed the brake bias or anything like that. Got ourselves a 203 262. Let's go through how we did it. There are a couple corners that took me a while to figure out with this one. First braking point as we come up here is going to be just past the 150. So as we come up here, we're going to get over as far to the right as we can. We're coming on over here, going to get our left wheels kind of up on this white line here. Then at the 150 marker, we've got this nice painted line here. That's nice. We're going to start braking. And this first corner, it took me forever to figure out. So we're going to brake pretty hard. We're going to try and get down to third. And we're going to succeed too, because we're good drivers. And we're going to ease off on the brake pressure, trail braking through. And hit our apex. And this is what took me a while to figure out. So we're going to come through here. We're going to start putting the power back on. I originally thought I needed to get all the way back over here for this next corner. But that is not, I don't think, the best way to do it. So we're just going to power through. We're going to stay on the right here, which is super counterintuitive to me. I want to get back over here so I can open this corner up. But to go through this one, we're just going to stay on the right. Probably going to stay on the right a little bit more, but we're just going to have a little lift through here. If you open it up, you can take this flat out, but you lose like 0.2 to half a second doing that. So we're just going to lift a little bit as we're still accelerating through here. and just keep her in fourth. And then we're gonna have a little lift when we get to this, like it's in here, like maybe this white line, maybe the end of the curb. Kind of depends. Let's go through and let's see where we actually do it. Kind of the end of the curb here is where we're gonna lift. We're gonna turn in. We don't want to hit this red bump here. That'll unsettle the car pretty hard. We're just turn in, start easing the throttle back in as we come around. We're gonna open up the wheel. We still need to be turning though. Don't want to shoot off over here. We're gonna get ourselves up to 5th gear. And then, as we round this next corner, kind of as we approach this curb on the left here, this one here, we're gonna brake kind of at an angle as we go through this. So we're just kind of easing on the brakes, slowing the car down. It kind of reminds me of going up the cutting in Bathurst a little bit, but it's not up. It's uphill, but not nearly as much. And then we're gonna put some more pressure on as we get into the straight line here. And then we're gonna ease off to trail brake through here. And this corner is kind of similar to that first corner. It took me a little while to figure that out. So we're just gonna trail brake on through, bring the wheel in, and we're gonna ease a little bit of throttle in. Then we're gonna try and straighten the car out a little bit here, because we wanna be going on the right hand side of the track here through this next bit. We're gonna straighten the car out, straighten the wheel out. The car will come with it, and we're full throttle. And I was trying to get all the way over here, and you can just take this part flat. Like, there's no reason to get back over to the left. So we're just full throttle through here. And this next braking point is a little, like, nebulous for me. It's gonna be in between these two. You can't really see them all that well here. There's a 100 and a 50 marker on the right hand side, and there's corresponding white lines on the opposite side of the track. It's going to be between those two, a little closer to the far one, the 50. But we're kind of aiming over there, and then we're going to start braking. I guess we start at the 100, but I'm thinking I'm going to peak like a car length away from this one. But we're going to downshift, turn in, downshift again, hold that brake pressure. The camber on this is weird. There's probably a better way to take this corner because of that, but this is what works for me. I'm gonna put the throttle back in a little bit. Then, as we straighten the wheel out, we'll start feeding more throttle in. There we go. Full throttle. And we're back to it. Before the 50, it's gonna be my breaking point here, or just after the 100 probably is what it ends up being, but my brain is before the 50 is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I just end up applying it, starting our application at the 100 and then peaking just before the 50. Then we're going to start easing off just a little bit. Bring it down, take this whole downhill chicane in second. Hold that little bit of pressure. And we're going to come back on the throttle just a little bit. Kind of trying to come over to the right a little bit, and then we're going to have to hit the brakes again. I don't have a spot for it. I just kind of where it feels right, but we need to hit the brakes again and get that pressure on the front wheels so we can make the rest of this corner. This track is so tough, but we're coming back on the throttle, and we're going to open up the wheel, and we're going to come over to the right hand side of the track quite a bit as we're going full throttle. Now this corner here is really treacherous because it makes you want to go fast, but you have to lift partway through it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that fast left-hander at Jerez or the fast right-hander at many core. So many core you kind of lift before it and hold partway through. But anyway, we're gonna just hold full throttle, and then we're gonna have to lift here just to get the car to turn in enough. If we kept it full throttle, we would end up way out here. So we're gonna have to lift partway through here. So we just lift. I have good markers. It's kind of in my head. I'm lifting when I'm not turning enough to get the car over to the left-hand side of the track here. And then as soon as we get the car where it's pointing the direction we want it to go, we're gonna start putting the throttle back in. But before we slam the throttle down, we've got to open up the wheel. So we're starting to open up the wheel, and we're putting the throttle back in. It can get real loose if you have too much wheel in and you slam on the throttle, car's gonna spin. So just be careful with that, practice it, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, full throttle through here. And I think I might brake a little early here. Not like on this lap, just in general. But my spot is this first white line that's going to come up as we crest this. So this white line coming up here on the right, which is the 150. We're braking. We're gonna get down to second for this this turn here, but we are staying on the right hand side as much as we can. Keep those left wheels on the gray stuff. And we're gonna turn in as we ease off on the brakes. Just hold a little bit of pressure there. Keep the front wheels bit in. More wheel. We've got to turn back on the throttle as we exit. I had to lift a little bit there because it was getting squirrely on me. But now that we're straightened out, we can go full throttle. If you just ease your throttle in a little bit smoother than I did on this lap, you'd be good. But we are going to have to lift a little bit as we kind of crest this hill here. I can't quite take it flat out, so we're just going to have a little bit of a lift. And we're going to put the throttle back slowly. Then no good brake marks on this side. I didn't even notice that there's boards on the right side of the track here, but I'm kind of looking at this darker piece of pavement has these cutouts in it, and that's kind of what I'm aiming at from my braking point. We're going to get down to second, and coming down this, we're going to try and keep the car to the right hand side as much as we can. So we're just holding a little bit of brake pressure, trying to get the car come over to the right, giving a little bit of throttle, and then we're gonna have to hit the brakes again to get the car to bite, front end to sink down. Just hold that little bit of pressure, and then we're easing off and getting the gas in it. Spun out here a few times doing this, but this gets us good exit speed, hopefully. And we're just straightening the car out as we apply that last little bit of throttle. We got to straighten the wheel out, and we can use quite a bit of this curb on the right hand side here. And then we have the super duper long straightaway. So we are just gonna zip down this as fast as we can. Then my braking point I use here, and I tried when I was starting out doing this. I was trying to like brake over on the right with my right wheels off. It's too bumpy, and you don't have enough contact with the ground to really slow the car down. So it's real tough doing that. But we are gonna, at the end of where this corrugation ends, we're gonna slam on the brakes. You can kind of see where it starts to taper. That's what we're looking at. That's what I'm looking at. But just so much brakes. You can go to 100% here. My brakes are stiff, so it's kind of hard to do that. But I'm just kind of easing the car to the right a little bit as I'm braking. Trying to open it up. We're gonna go all the way down to first gear here. The extreme version of the hairpin at Hockenheim, but we're just holding all that pressure, easing off on the brakes. We're in first, and we're gonna start letting so much wheel. Probably put even more wheel into it than I did here. We're start getting the throttle back about halfway through the hairpin. And we're going to unwind the wheels. We're coming around. And we're straightened out so we can go back on the throttle. And then we're gonna stay on the right hand side here. Again, I would think, you know, I'd want to come over here, but the way that the track is, we want to stay on the right hand side. And we're gonna have to lift a little bit, otherwise this will unsettle the car too much. We're flat out, so just lift. And as soon as we get settled down, we're gonna get back on the throttle, and then we can stay on the left hand side here. There's enough, the way that this corner is shaped, we can just stay on the left. I think I come over to the right just a little bit. Yeah. But now we're just flat out over this next hill and the rest of the way. We got ourselves a 203 262. All right, like I said, had some trouble with this one, but eventually broke through the wall, figuring out that first turn, and that just kind of made things a whole lot easier. I think I can do a 202 at some point, maybe. I don't know. Spun out a lot doing this. I don't know why I shook my head like that there. Maybe I'm just reliving the spins, but I'm gonna have to kind of watch myself, make sure that it doesn't happen in a race. There are plenty of runoffs on this course versus last week where we were at Detroit, where I did miss a braking point and ended up in a wall there in one race. That's not as big a concern here. It's more the whole spinning out thing and losing a bunch of time that way, but it isn't going to destroy the car and end the race. To be able to at least try to mount some kind of comeback, but I don't think hopefully it won't come to that. So if you want to watch along while I try and do all that, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman. You can see that all live. The video, if you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, I understand. Thumbs down. And if you think I earned it, hit the subscribe button. It helps out. We'll see you next time. Bye.